Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to this very, very special webinar that we've curated for you today, so that you get to understand how to pass this PMP exam in your very first go. We are waiting on our trainer who's here with us. Good morning, Bhupinder. How's everyone doing this morning? Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Smriti, and I have the privilege of hosting yet another webinar for KnowledgeHut, and we're so happy that so many of you have taken your time out to attend this masterclass with Bhupinder and myself, and all your questions and all the myths about PMP is going to be broken this morning. So let's have a good time together. If you're with me, just say hi on the chat box. I'd like to see how many of you are actually going to be active. Good morning, Bhupinder. How are you doing today? You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Very good morning. And I'm good. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking. Rush morning, already an ITIL class and now the PMP webinar with us.
Fortunately, it didn't happen in the morning. It's happening in the
Okay.
I had a perception it was in the morning, so good.
Okay, good. I know you do like a whole load of things. I heard from Sandhya that you literally take up everything with us, and then otherwise as well, you have a lot of expertise. So wonderful. We're so glad that you could make it this morning for this masterclass.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. So we have a few people who've joined us, and I think we're good to start. Yeah. Okay, once again, a very good morning to all of you and welcome to this very special masterclass that we have curated for all of you. The problem or the issue that we're bringing to the fore this morning is how to pass your PMP on your first attempt and just within 5 weeks. You heard that right. 5 weeks is all you need to break all those myths about the PMP exam and, go ahead, study hard, train well, and get this done. Okay. I do see a lot of people, so I'm very excited that all of you are here and you're ready to take on that project management career. So let's start with a fun question, just a quick question while we wait for everyone else to join. Right? Okay, so the first question to all of you is, and Bhupinder, you can answer as well if you'd like to. Which which superhero would you think would make the best project manager and why? You can leave your answers in the chat box. Which superhero do you think would make the best project manager and why? Venkatesh said Iron Man. Why, Venkatesh? Why do you think Iron Man would be a great a great project manager? Amir Khan is another answer. Great. Batman, as he was able to bring everyone in Justice League. Yes. I think one of my favorites is Batman as well because he uses so much technology. Someone said Amir Khan as well. Why Amir Khan? Superman. That's what's expected out of a project manager. Solve everything and ensure the project is a success. Everything on one man. He's a genius in Avengers, Tony Stark, correct? Bhupinder, any answers from you? Who's your?
Superman was mine.
Sorry?
Superman was mine.
Superman was yours. Okay, great. Right. We're going to keep this session really interactive. We don't really have to park the questions to the end of the question and answer round. We will take questions as and when. So if you have questions, leave them in the Q&A box. And then if you want to raise your hand or let us know something, you can always leave us a chat on the chat box. Well, thank you once again, everybody, for joining us this morning. My name is Smriti Anthony, and I have the privilege to host this wonderful masterclass for you guys once again. And with me today is a very special PMP trainer. His name is Bhupinder Singh. He has a whole lot of experience under his belt, and he's going to help you guys understand how important training is for PMP and how you can finish that PMP examination by just studying for 5 weeks. Bhupendra, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely, sure. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So, hello everyone. As Smriti already told me, my name is Bhupinder. I've got around 2.5 decades of industry experience, though I don't look that old, but trust me, I'm not that young as well. I hope to, be acknowledged as a young person, but yeah. So it's been 2.5 decades of industry experience. I was working with HP till sometime back as a director. Senior leadership role, I grew in the organization, started from the grassroots level, handled various projects. And by the end of it, when I moved out of the organization, I moved out in 2017. And I moved out to the organization when I was working as a director, leading the CSI function, where we were focusing on projects to make improvements to the IT services. It could be Six Sigma, Lean, or even development efforts. So my domain was entirely into project management for IT services. This function I was handling for multiple countries: United States, Costa Rica, Malaysia, India, and Ireland. Um, it's not that only after 2017 I moved out. So 2017 is when I took the decision that I have to move out and focus on one thing. My passion has always been into trainings and consulting. Now, as a consultant, as an employee, sometimes I used to feel that there is a limited scope of influence that you have in the organization. And that's where the consulting really helped me grow. So it's been around, 14 years now since I'm also into consulting and trainings. Earlier, it was moonlighting. That's what people call it right now. 2017 is when I moved out and became a full-time consultant and a trainer. Consulting helps me stay connected with the industry. So I'm not, that's where I take pride in saying that I'm not just a trainer who is going to teach you the theoretical aspect and say that, okay, this is what theory makes sense. Because I'm a consultant helping organizations improve their practices. My consulting is on project management, PMO implementation, process improvement, and GDPR mainly. Apart from this, I also do the consulting for ISO accreditations for some organization on ISO 9000, 20,000, 27,000 specifically. Now, all these, if you look at it, it's mainly related to project management, whether it's PMO implementation, process improvement, all of that is related to project management. And I've done this across industries, which you would not get the opportunity working in just one company. I've done it, for example, I've done it for Nestle. That's a manufacturing company when they were setting a plant in Dubai. In Dubai, I've also done for Deva, which is government organization, then Etisalat, which is telecom, talk more telecom. I've done it for Ericsson. I've done it for finance, where it was for Standard Chartered and Fidelity Investments. I've done it for IT. Of course, HP is still one of my client, one of my major, organization where I worked at senior leadership level, still one of my client. So that's an IT. I've done it for airlines also, Riyadh Airport, I've done it for them. That's in Saudi Arabia. So I've done it across all the industries: IT, ITES, manufacturing, finance, pharma. And that gives me the edge where I am able to use all the examples from different industries and talk about what we're teaching is not just theory. What I don't like people talking about is saying that, okay, this is theoretical and this is what you should learn just to clear the examination. I believe if I say something, it has to be practical. And if it is not practical, then I think I don't have the knowledge to be able to convince you. And I'm just saying, you need to remember it from exam perspective, because all these are professional certifications. Unless they make you better, there's no point. And that's why they have very high value in the industry. So what you can expect, from my style of training is practicality, understanding each and every aspect. And I don't let people go till the time they understand and come on same page, unless they have the disconnect where they feel, okay, we are doing it differently. Either I'm not told them that what you're talking about and I'm talking about is the same thing, or why what I'm teaching is better, or what you should be doing. Unless that happens, I don't let that go, and we continue with the case study or the exercises. So that's my style and my background about the trainings. I think since 2014, I am attached to KnowledgeHut. So it's been 9 years approximately right now. So that's a little bit about me and my approach on the trainings perspective that we spoke about. I just don't deliver trainings on PMP. There are many other subjects. So in project management, you have different layers, right? You have the framework, you have methodology, you have approach. On all three levels, I am certified and I train, which ensures that I can talk about the differences and why, what certification, what we're doing, how does this help, and what else you should do. So it's not just one, but I'm a trainer for Prince2 also. I'm a trainer for Agile as well. That helps me stay, give you all the answers. I think at a high level, this is where I would want to stop about my introduction and then talk about, my approach. Just one thing which I would like to add over here towards the end, I'll speak about it. So when you're preparing for your examination, I also have recorded, there are, videos which we recommend on YouTube to watch for getting prepared. And there are YouTube videos of mine as well, which has been recorded with KnowledgeHut, which will help you out further to get prepared. So I'll give out those links to you in short while. It's really
Great. Thank you so much, Bhupinder. It's really great that we have you this morning.
Thank you.
Right. Let's move on. A quick question and a poll that all of you can answer. How have you previously attempted the PMP certification examination? But before you answer that question, I have another question that I'd like to get to know. How many of you are from where? Where are you from? I'd like to familiarize that. Are you from Singapore, from India, or from the rest of the world? Please let me know. Okay, I think we've got most of our answers in, and majority of our learners today are from India. We have a few from the rest of the world, but none from Singapore so far. All right. And for the question, have you previously attempted the PMP certification exam? Bhupinder, this is for you. Most of our, well, it's a 50-50. 50% of them are saying, no, this will be my first attempt. And the other 50% is saying that they are not familiar with PMP at all. If you can see my screen, the poll results are there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good start for us. So we know where you're from and we know how much you know of PMP. All right. Another quick question. How many of you know the value of PMP certification? If you can quickly answer that for me. How many of you know the value of the PMP certification? And while you're answering this, I just like to give you some facts. You know what? PMP is here to stay. So the more of you who are getting certified, the more opportunities that we are building in the world. All right. A couple of them, again, a 50-50 poll. 50% says that, they do know the value, while the others say that they're new to this. All right. Thank you so much for answering those questions. Here are some facts that you'd like to look at. It's on my screen. People with PMP certification make an average annual salary of 107,000 USD. In demand certification, it is an in-demand certification across the Fortune 500. You get to earn 40% higher than non-certified peers, and the job opportunities are constantly and consistently growing at a rate of 23% annually. So what do you think then is the main deterrent to the PMP examination participation amongst those who have received the PMP training? That's one more question for you to answer. What do you think is the primary reason why people who receive the PMP training don't take the PMP examination? All right. I'm going to share the results on my screen. Most people think because it's the lack of time to prepare. Some of them say it's because of the cost of the examination. Few of them also talk about the difficulty level of the examination, and then there are others who have said others. If you'd like to say why, you can leave your comment in the chat box. All right. So I have a few facts that we'd like to lay out. So a 2022 study by PMI showed that only 65% of the PMP certified professionals actually renew their certification after 3 years. For those of you who are new and don't know about PMP, once you get certified as a PMP professional, you get that certification in your hands from PMI, it is valid for 3 years. And every 3 years, you will have to renew your certification by collecting 60 PDUs. PDU stands for Professional Development Units. 1 hour of learning or in project management will give you 1 PDU. So you can go back to take up other courses from KnowledgeHut or other service providers. KnowledgeHut's the best place to be at though, so maybe you should pick us. And then if you're a PMI member, you get to watch their webinars and seminars on pmi.org. Excuse me. So yeah, only 65% of the people actually renew their certification, but maybe you guys want to think about doing that anyway after you get your certificate. Only 38% of the respondents who received the PMP training actually took the PMP examination because of the following reasons. Like you all answered, either it's lack of preparation time, it's the exam cost, or the difficulty in the exam level. Now, lack of preparation time is true, but then if you follow our 5-week study plan, you only need 5 weeks to crack your examination in the first go. Exam cost is really high because it is a very valuable certification, so you have to kind of spend that money. And the difficulty of the examination, well, we will be giving you a lot of mock tests and simulation exams to prepare really well for this exam, so you don't have to worry about the difficulty. Our trainers are so good that they will give you a go or no go when it comes to the examination. According to a 2018 PMI study, the global pass rate for the PMP exam was only 50.56%. All right, great. So what we're essentially trying to tell you is that there are a lot of people who are taking up the PMP training, but are not really doing the examination. And that's what we want to break. We want to tell you that if you have 5 weeks of time and go through a training with us, you definitely will be able to clear the PMP examination. Another poll for you to answer. What do you think is the primary reason? I think we already took this. Yes, we did. So we had 4 options: lack of time, cost of examination, difficulty levels of the examination, and some of you said others. Okay. Great. Somebody said you don't have an idea about the value or value about PMP, right? We'll get to that while Bhupinder takes over. Okay, so if we can have a quick round of applause for our dear trainer, Bhupinder Singh. He has over 22 years of experience in enabling businesses, and he has already given you a brief introduction about himself. Over to you, Bhupinder, and let this masterclass take off.
Thank you, Smriti.
You're welcome.
So before I proceed further, I just have a small question for you, Smriti. I think from slide 42, you'll be taking over back, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Let me quickly share my screen. Just a moment.
I will help you with the slides.
Okay, perfect. Then I think that's good.
Yeah. All right.
Right. By now, all of you have, I've already gone through my introduction. So by now you have a brief idea about my credentials and why I think I am equipped to be able to answer your questions and help you pass your certification. Some data points which I was looking at. One of the data point which came out was global pass percentage or global pass rate for PMP is 50.58%. Why I think we are qualified to be able to speak about this masterclass and tell you the exact plan which we're so confident about. And even that plan, I'm going to simplify it even further, right? And give you the clear-cut guidelines about what you need to do to be able to clear your examination from the experience. The global pass percentage is 50.58%, is what we have seen, across as per the research. The pass percentage of my students is more than 99%. And this is where I always ask my participants that take my approval before you go for your examination. I even go to a level where I say that I'm confident if you take my approval, and if I say that, okay, you're ready to take your examination, if you fail your examination, I'm responsible for that. And that confidence comes from understanding your scores in mock exam, judging, and then having objective approach rather than a subjective approach where I can measure your success. I can measure your chance of success depending upon your scores in the mock exam. So that's where I said that I'm going to simplify it even further. If someone goes ahead and takes the examination without the approval, cannot really do anything about it. The first training, I told you that it's been around 13, 14 years since I'm training. And the first training which I handled right in the beginning was the first year itself was the oldest trainings which I've been handling is PMP and Six Sigma. So 99% since then, pretty high percentage, which includes the focus, I think, on the practicality, understanding, and having the objective approach towards the clearing percentage. Now, before we proceed further and talk about what are the key challenges, or rather, let's talk about that, the key challenges as per me and the roadblocks for people to clear the examination. I think people don't have a clear idea about what they need to study, and they don't feel ever prepared for taking up the examination because of the syllabus, because they think that the syllabus is too vast. After the training is over, they want to go back and study the content, and that's where they confuse themselves, where they have abundance of the material to read. When they read, when they hear about different words like, okay, Rita Mulcahy book or Head Start and PMBOK, Agile Handbook, they want to go through everything, they download everything, but it's overwhelming. That's when the first motivation itself goes off. As per my observation, the motivation itself goes off because it's not easy to read so much of stuff. What I recommend is, the first thing is you need to be clear about what to study, how much to study, right? Having a clear approach there also helps understanding that it's not just the study, you have already done it. You have already gone through the training. The trainer has already explained all the concepts. You don't need to read anything else. And if you have doubts, if you want to clarify those doubts, that should have been done in the session itself. Don't let the trainer proceed further till all the clarity is there. So being serious in the training is paramount. If you have got your answers clarified at that point of time, you will not face a situation where you're confused, where you don't know, because if you're depending upon going through all the material and towards the end get clarity, that's not going to happen. Let's accept it. It's not that something which you're going to take the examination. You're not used to it. The last exam probably that you would have taken is during your graduation, during your maybe 10 years ago, whenever you did your graduation. You're not used to it. And second, at that point of time, you were not working. So you're working professionals, you have your family, you have time to be given to office. You don't really have that much time to study. And this is where crisp, direct understanding of what to study, how much to study, and gauging if you're prepared or not, so that you don't waste your money, will help you get the confidence. And that's exactly our plan that we are going to speak about. The the week plan is going to cover and make it objective. So first roadblock, not having a clear idea about what to study and trying to study everything, trying to download all the books and then get, having an overwhelming approach of the material to study is the first thing, as per me. Second is the cost of the examination itself. The cost of the training is not that high. The cost of the training is much lesser than the examination cost. So a lot of times it gets, just by looking at the number, 50% of the participants only clear the examination. That means, am I going to be the one who is not going to clear the examination? Am I going to waste the $555, which I'm going to invest for the training, for the certification? Not getting the confidence is another reason. And that, why don't you get it? Again, ties back to the same thing, not having the objective approach of understanding, are you prepared or not? If you take a guesswork, I don't think that's going to happen. And this is where I think Smriti also mentioned, you would be given out the mock exams to understand where you are. How much are you prepared? to be able to understand, can I get the confidence? Will I clear the examination? Is there any guarantee about it? Is there any assurity about it? Can I just go with the confidence, or am I shooting in the dark? And this is where the overall, again, 5-week approach comes in. So where to start? How much to study? Downloading too much stuff? And then not having understanding what to start, what is the syllabus, because PMP covers anything and everything which happens in project management. It covers the approach, it covers the methodology as well. There is nothing in project management that is not covered in PMP, which gets handled by a project manager, but is not handled. And that's where am I covering everything? Not having a clear-cut idea about it, where to start becomes a challenge. Lack of material, dedicated material that, okay, I have the PMBOK, it's overwhelming. Should I go for Rita Molkai book? Should I go for any other book? Should I go for Head Start? Should I go for the material which is shared by the trainer? Should I go for the YouTube videos? Is that going to be sufficient? Or even after that, I'm going to be thinking that I've missed something. Now, it's going to happen with you, where even after studying all the material, you might come up with a formula or a term which you were not aware of. Probably it's not been taught to you, because the material which is taught to you is, is a synopsis of PMBOK. Not everything will come over there, which is important from project management perspective. Those important terms will be taught, which we know of as something which comes. Now, if you go through some terms which you were not aware of earlier and you suddenly come across them, then check with your trainer. However, that might be a deterrent that, okay, I never had this material. Whereas the purpose was having a targeted material to ensure that you are able to clear your exam. Knowledge of what material to study, what not to study, as I was saying just now, clear-cut understanding of the PMI exam content outline. This can be downloaded from the PMI website, which will tell you that what exactly is the PMI, the outline that we have. Apart from all the topics which is mentioned over here, which talks about you getting the confidence, I think another deterrent over here, which was a deterrent for me as well, when I took up an examination. Now, you need certain focus or certain discipline to have a dedicated timeline. Remember your school days, college days, at that point of time, any year when you would have not scored well in your examination, if there was a year in which you have not scored well as per your expectation, I'm sure when you go back to your parents, you would have, it was a little embarrassing, and you would have told yourself, promised yourself. All of us have been through that situation where we have promised ourselves, oh, this year I'm going to study right from the first day. We made that commitment. I remember about me, I don't know about you, but majority of you would agree to it, because it happened with me, and I've seen that happening with my kids as well, happening with other folks as well, my students as well. And this is called, as there is a law actually related to it. Study about it. It's called as Parkinson's law. Let me put that onto the chat window so that you can study about it. It's not Parkinson's disease, it's Parkinson's law. The Parkinson's law that we have states that the work tends to fit into time that we have. Now, again, I will go back to student syndrome, which I was explaining. That year, when you made commitment to yourself, you studied for first few weeks, maybe a week, or maybe first few weeks. You started well. But then over a period of time, you got used to the fact that last year is gone. And normalcy, when it prevailed at that point of time, we lost track and eventually went back to the status quo, enjoying. And when did we start studying at that point of time? If you remember, that's when the date sheet of the examination is already published and we know when the exam is going to happen. That's when we started actually studying. Isn't it true with majority of us? That's because now we know we don't have a choice. The day when the exam is going to happen, we can't push it. So we have to study. That's one example. Second, about the Parkinson's law is, let's go back to our organization. In organization, I'm not going to talk about what you do, but think from this perspective. If you have asked a report from your team member, you go back to your team member and say, I need a report. It's just half an hour job, you know it. So it's a tech lead or whatever, your team member whom you asked for a report, you know that it's just half an hour job. Today's what, Saturday. So on Saturday, you ask for the report and the team member says, when do you need it? Say, it's okay, I have to send it out on Friday. So even if you send it to me by Friday morning, it's okay. How many of you think you will get it today? You won't get it. You will either get it on Friday, early morning, when it was supposed to be given out to you, or you might have to remind. Do you agree? You might have to send a reminder. Even though it was just half an hour job, definitely 80 to 90% of the chances are there. Today, definitely you will not get it. Very close to Friday, or you will not even get it without the reminder. You know why? Because it's not a priority. We know it's just half an hour job. I'll do it when the time comes. Third example, do you remember? Today also weekends, if you have a family, if your wife or husband says that I want to go to, let's go for shopping. You procrastinate it, you delay it till the time you know that, okay, now shopping won't be completed and it will be a trouble. I need to I might get into conflict. It's better, let's get up and get ready. All these are examples of human nature. The nature that I'm talking about over here is procrastination. We procrastinate because unless we know there is a deadline, it is not a priority for us. The simple reason why people don't take up the examination, and less number of people take up the examination, and those who take up the examination don't clear the examination, is because they don't have a hard date. They don't have a date when they want to, when they're sure. They think they want to go for blocking the examination when they're prepared. And after a period of time, what happens is they lose confidence because they have not been studying. They have been procrastinating it, and that's where they lose confidence. They start forgetting. They might have to come back for a refresher. And this is why my first recommendation, forget about 5-week plan. We'll talk about it. But you need to have an end date in mind. If you don't have it, you will fall into that trap that 38%, the highly motivated people who take the examination, rest don't take it. You will eventually be falling in that trap. Remember, it's just human nature. We would procrastinate it. It's not because we are lazy. It's just the human nature. Like we are rebellion. That's also human nature, right? So we don't want to follow policies, procedures. Like when you go out, how many people in India you see that wearing, driving the car with the seatbelt on, or the helmet they're wearing with the bike? Even though they know it's in their favor, they would not do it, right? So it's just basic human nature. If you know it, this is my first recommendation. Always have an end date in mind. So what should be the end date? As we're giving you 5-week plan, from the date when your training is starting, this is the time that you need to look at. And depending upon that, the first thing that you should do is fill your application in PMI portal, get the admin activity completed. There is no charges to fill the application. You can do it after the training is completed, but what I recommend, so here my 2 recommendations are right in the beginning. The first day of your training, because you get clear about your experience, what kind of experience is required, the trainer would have gone through it. By the end of the first day of your training, go to PMI.org, create your account. Once your account is created, fill your application. Do you have the information to fill your application? Absolutely yes. You know the certificate that you will get from KnowledgeHut after the training is completed, so you can fill those details. You know when you did your graduation, so you can fill those details. You know about your project management experience, you can fill those details as well. Why first day? I have seen that as a second reason for people not taking up the examination, because they don't know what to fill in the application. Right now, your training has just started. You have an opportunity where your trainer is connected with you. Fill your application, take a screenshot. There is no harm. Send that screenshot to your trainer, ask for review. They will let you know if your application is filled appropriately or not. Isn't that great? You don't have to pay any fee, anything extra, but you get the confidence that, okay, my application, I've filled it appropriately. And even before the training is completed, I have the trainer with me who's going to help me out fill the application, get everything in order. And I don't have to pay even a single penny for that. So first itself is my first recommendation, get the admin activity completed. Once you and your trainer agrees and you fill your application, within 5 days, you will get the approval. Now, there is a chance of audit, 5% chances of audit, random audit. Let's talk about the audit process. It's not difficult audit. It's very, very simple. You just have to submit certain proofs about your experience and graduation and your PDU certificate. Very simple process. Let's talk about it. If your application gets picked up for audit, is it because you filled something incorrect? No, it's random audit. If there is something incorrect in the application, you will get to hear within those 5 days that PMI takes to review your application. What are they reviewing? They're checking if your experience is actually project management related, or is it something else? PMI has eligibility, and it makes sense because I'll talk about it, why it makes sense. So PMI has eligibility that you need to have certain experience before you take up your examination, and that you need to substantiate in case of project management. Why is it needed? PMP is the highest level certification. We know the value. So some of us mentioned, we don't know what PMP. In project management, if you are, the highest level certification, the certification which is the most valued, if you have heard about Scrum Master, if you have heard about other certifications, PMI ACP, Prince 2, PMP, talk about any certification, Safe Edge List, all of these have very high value, but the highest possible value in project management, I'm not talking about entire project. So in project, there are two roles distinct. One is business analyst, another one is project manager. For business analyst, it's different. That's CBAP. For project manager, the highest valued certification in the industry, which gets you a lot of job calls, which gets you on the table for interviews, which gets you highest salary and all the benefits, is PMP, Project Management Professional, offered by PMI, which is a non-profit organization. Since it's a validation from external party about your skill set for the project management, it is valued and is sought after certification by all the clients as well. And of course, organizations, if I want to pitch for a contract, if I want to get a contract from an organization, a project, isn't it beneficial for me and say that, oh, your project is in safe hands. My project manager is PMP certified. He will handle your project like a Superman. Right? I was saying that earlier. So that's where organizations want it. If you go into any job portal, you will see majority of the job openings that you have for project manager. Do the validation. We'll see around 75 to 80% of the job openings having PMP as an eligibility criteria. I might be wrong with the percentage, but it's very, very high. So approximately 70 to 80% it should be. Where project manager jobs that you see, you cannot even apply if you're not certified. If you're certified, will you get the job? You're on the table. You have to prove your skills, but at least you're on the table for discussion. You're not even on the table if you're not certified. Why? Spoke about it because I'm going to pay a little extra, but I can pitch and get more contracts because now I have independent party validating that I have the skill set in my organization to manage your projects effectively. So that's where the benefit comes in.
Bhupinder, we have 2 questions. Would you like to take it?
Let me just go through it.
I'll read it out for you. Do we need to study from Rita Mulcahy 11th edition or 10th edition is enough?
Bhushan, Rita Mulcahy book, we are not going to be recommending. It's up to you. You want to go through it. It's your choice. We are recommending a different plan altogether. So as you can see on the content, we are going to talk mainly about the lessons and the material that we are going to share and what you should be doing. Rita Mulcahy is a separate book which is famous in their market. I have never recommended personally. I don't know what Smriti if she wants to recommend that, but I have personally not recommended the Rita Mulcahy book. I say that's an add-on guide. And I actually, when I did my certification, I didn't go through it. I don't recommend it because it's, I believe you don't have time. You need to just be clear about the concepts. If you're clear about the concepts, the main preparation is going to happen through your mock exams, not through reading any other book. The benefit that you will get, if you want to go through it, after every chapter, there are sample questions, the mock questions, which you can practice. However, there is a disadvantage also of that. The actual examination, majority of questions will be mix and match and not from chapter wise as such. Right? So you will not know which chapter the question has come from. It is mainly from the logics perspective. It is mainly situational questions, which you can only answer if you have the overall understanding of the content and if you're overall developed. So it's your choice. My answer, simple answer, I don't recommend it. Whether 10th edition, 11th edition, I don't recommend it. Should you go for PMBOK? I actually don't.
There's actually another question. Apart from KnowledgeHut and PMBOK 7 material, should we study any more?
Only KnowledgeHut material, not even PMBOK. I don't recommend reading PMBOK also. You know why? Those of you who are religious, how many of you have actually gone through the religious books? Can we read Bible? I can't. I'm very bad at it. I can go through videos. If you want me to sleep, give me a book. I'll sleep after 2 pages. And probably I know majority of you are in the same boat. I, being a trainer, have not gone through PMBOK entirely. I can give you all the concepts, but have I actually gone through entire book when I was studying? Not needed. It will be overwhelming. You don't have time. So only the material which is given out to you by KnowledgeHut is what you should depend upon. Ties back to the same thing which I was saying earlier. More the material, eventually you'll confuse yourself. So let's target and say only KnowledgeHut material. We are giving you the 5-week plan. And I have also gone to an extent where I've said 99% pass percentage. I've gone to an extent where I said, if you take my approval, if I'm your trainer that time, and if I give you approval, I'm giving a guarantee you will clear the examination. Now, more than that, I think is not required. That's where you need to have the trust and understanding that, okay, you're in the right hands.
Okay, another question. I have finished diploma in mechanical engineering, 4 years of work X. Can I write the PMP exam?
If you're not a graduate, the experience is slightly different. We don't have 4 years project management experience, 4,500 hours of project management experience. We have little more than that. I don't remember exactly. I think it's 6 years. Do you remember that?
5 years.
5 years. 5 years experience is what is required for diploma holder. The only thing which I would want to add on over here is graduation. It says that you need to have 4 years degree. That's not mandatory. Even if you just need to be graduate. So even if 3 years, it's fine. Then the 4,500 hours of project management experience applies. But if you are a diploma holder, then 5 years experience is minimum required to write your examination.
Yes. Another question. Will people managers get benefited from the PMP certification?
All right. Very good question, Uma. People managers. Now, it depends upon whom we call as people manager. Project manager and operations manager, both are people managers. You cannot be successful in project management if you are focused on being a domain expert, focus on your expertise, because that's an SME job. You will be effective, you will be very good in your, okay, let me take my experience here. I'm a consultant, spoke about it. I did the consulting in all the industries, oil and gas, healthcare, pharma, FMCG, IT, ITS, finance. Does that make me expert in all these industries? Airlines, I'm not a pilot, right? So I can't, but I've done the projects for them. Why and how? You need to be expert in managing the experts. You need to be good in managing the project. And once you identify the right set of people, that's when you are successful, because 90% of your time goes off in communication. 90% of your time will go off from PMI also mentioned. It goes off in communication, which is for what? For managing your stakeholders, ensuring negative influences are managed, no political influences derail your project, ensure that not just the technical aspect, but the environment also stays conducive towards the project. So that's what your main role is. And this is where people manager, you need to be effective to be a good project manager. But that also is applicable for operations as well. So yes, as a people manager, if you're managing projects, it's a must. For you, if you're a new project manager, you just become a project manager. You are a people manager at that point of time as well. You might want to do Prince 2. That will be more helpful where you understand the rules and regulations. To explain that, I think when you join the organization, you have been given trainings, right? Any organization when you started, you have been given some trainings. You were effective in the role because of the training and following the rules and regulations. But after a period of time, you were able to improvise and do better. Consider Prince 2 as something which is going to help you understand what to do in the beginning. Once you gain the experience, you need that liberty, you need to be able to understand how to improvise and do better. And that's where PMP comes in. And that's where the 4-year experience becomes very, very handy and must, not just experience which is asked for, but a must, because here you need to be able to understand when to go for exceptions, when not to. That becomes important. So expert is what is required. Now, okay, going back to the same question, as a project manager, whether you want to be a project manager, and if you want to be a project manager, PMP is a must after a period of time once you gain experience. As an operations manager, PMP is not needed because you're not handling projects, but you definitely in both the situations need to be a great people manager.
What are the prerequisites for taking up PMP course?
All right, so the prerequisite.
Just a second. And also, is there any prior work experience required as a project manager?
Right. So I think the answer is same for both the questions. What is the prerequisite? Prerequisite is 35. Let me speak about the easier part first. your 35 PDU certificate, which is your training, formal training. Certificate related to, are you trained on the project management subject by by institute? Are you trained? For that, you receive the 35 PDUs, which means 35 hours of formal training. You will get that from KnowledgeHut once you attend the training. So that's easier part. That's taken care of. You don't have to do anything to generate it. It's given to you by KnowledgeHut once you complete your training. Second portion that you need to have is either graduation. If you have a graduation, then 4 years minimum. Your experience. And if you're not a graduate, if you're a diploma holder, you would need 5 years minimum experience. As a project manager, is it needed? Not really. Your designation could be project lead. Your designation could be, team lead, team manager. Designation does not matter. What matters is role, which means you need to have, if you're a graduate, bare minimum 4 years of project management experience. You need to have managed a project irrespective of your designation in the organization. You need to have managed projects for bare minimum 4 years. As I said, designation does not matter, role matters, and which means role could not be a project engineer. You need to have managed the project, not did the project, right? So your experience could be 7 years, 8 years, and that minimum 4 years project management experience. Second criteria, and that's where I think the challenge comes. Apart from this, do we have any other criteria? No, not really. So the graduation, 4 years experience. If you're not a graduate, 5 years, and your 35 PDU certificate. That's it. That's what you need. Certificate from KnowledgeHut you will get after you complete the training. That's the easier part. Related to your experience, how do you justify what you need to mention? Your trainers will help you out. If you know that you already have the experience, just go for the training, your application, filling the application and letting you know the guidelines for it about what to document and how to document your experience. That's on your trainer. He will help you out.
Great. So KnowledgeHut material, mock test, if doing good in mock test, go ahead and give the examination. How much should be the score in the mock test? So actually we will give you, I'll take this Bhupinder. We will give you 5 mock tests and 5 simulation exams if you take our pro plan, right? The mock test you can attempt multiple times. Every time you answer a question in the mock test, we will give you a reasoning as to why your answer was right or wrong. And then you can attempt each of these 5 mock tests multiple times. Once you reach about 80 to 85% in your mock test, then you give the simulation exam. The simulation exam is very close to the PMP examination, where you sit through for 4 hours and finish that exam like you would do with PMI. We give you 5 simulation exams as well. So if you get about 80-85% on our simulation exams, you're good to go with the main PMI PMP examination. And if you follow the 5-week study plan and you go through the mock test and the simulation exams and then you still fail, there are terms and conditions applied, which you can read through the fine print on our website, but we will give you the money back if you don't answer or clear your examination in the first go. So that is the answer to that question. Bhupinder, this is for you. I have tech experience of 1.5 years. I'm planning to go through the project management master program. So will I be able to apply for PMP certification, or if not, then which certification will help me get into project management?
Sorry, Smriti, I didn't catch that. How many years of experience is mentioned?
Tech experience of 1.5 years.
Right. So I think the answer is simple. You can go for the training and take up the CAPM examination if you want, but taking up the examination of PMP would not be possible at the moment. You would need to have, as we said earlier, 4,500 hours of project management experience. So 1.5 years would not be sufficient for you. I don't want to set any sort, any wrong expectation over here. You would need to wait to write the examination. Which training to take up? I think the training you can take up. Examination you cannot take at the moment because you need a little bit more experience, and that's from the sanity perspective, which PMI has said. I completely agree that experience is required to be able to make those right decisions. Should you wait and take up the examination? Yes. If you're in urgency at the moment and you want to take up the certification just to prove your skills, I think Prince 2 can help you out. But 1.5 year experience later doing Prince 2, it is mainly, I recommend it mainly for participants who are new into project management, it is really helpful for them 1.5 years later, unless it's something which is asked for, unless it's something which you think is going to give you an edge in terms of getting better job opportunities. I would say wait and do PMP. That's probably better. It's your choice. That's the only second option which is left out. Any other certification? If you're into IT, you could look at the Agile certifications, maybe Scrum Master or those kind of certifications. But that's about it.
Okay, great. Currently, I'm on an execution side, working as a field engineer and executing critical projects. Does PMP certification open my ways for project management along with execution, or is it only for engineers who are on the execution end?
So that's correct me if I'm wrong. From your question, what I understand is you are a project engineer. You are executing. That's what you mentioned.
Now, working as a field engineer and executing critical projects.
Right. Which means the planning is done. You are executing it. You are enabling the projects. You are more working as a project engineer. In this situation, PMP, you can do the certification. You can do the training. Write the CAPM exam once again. CAPM examination is Certified Associate in Project Management. PMP is Project Management Professional. These are two different certifications offered by PMI. If anybody does not meet the eligibility criteria in terms of experience, they can write the examination of CAPM. Same content, everything similar. It's just that this is where it's acknowledged that you're not a project manager, you're aspiring to be a project manager, and you have the knowledge about the domain. The questions are simpler, examination is simpler, but that's what you can do. As a project engineer, you won't be able to write. You won't be eligible to write the examination of the PMP at the moment. As I said earlier, minimum 4 years of project management experience, not executing.
Great. One last question before we move on to the slides. Being a Scrum Master, would it be wise to take up PMP? I ask because the method of operations is different and contrasting.
As a Scrum Master?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Is it going to make you a better Scrum Master? Not really. You have already done that. If you're working as Scrum Master, this is something which is going to not really make you better Scrum Master as such, but will give you end-to-end visibility of project management. In project management, it's a myth. A lot of people I hear saying that traditional project management is gone. It's only Agile. And Agile Scrum is great. It depends upon the project. Your choice of approach depends. And how do you take the choice? If you're not even aware, how do you handle the different projects? So Scrum is one of the approach. With PMP, you will get to understand what other elements you need to manage to be able to have a successful, or not successful, you cannot guarantee it, but to increase the likelihood of success of a project. Do you want to always stay as a as a Scrum Master, or do you want to grow? Do you want to have the opportunities across different industries? And if the answer is yes, then definitely PMP is going to help you out. If you always want to be a Scrum Master, stick to only IT, then you can stay with Scrum Master. But I believe you would want to go for opening up bigger opportunities, not be constrained by industry. In that situation, definitely PMP is going to help you out. Simple answer. That was a long answer. Simple answer is yes, go for it.
Right, Bhupinder, we have 2 more questions, but we'll park that for a little later, and let's get on with the 5-week plan, which is on our slides.
Sure. All right, so I think we have spent a lot of time on question and answer, and we'll now talk about the 5-week plan. So let me make things simpler first. Okay, let me go through the 5-week plan and then make things simpler to give you the objective plan, which I was talking about earlier. Week 1, this is where your introduction happens. You are, this is where you will go through the PMP certification handbook, understand the exam structure, understand this is the beginning where you are actually going ahead and attending the training, understanding what PMI is all about, visiting the website, filling your application, understanding the content, understanding the total domain of knowledge. So first week around, this is where you're getting introduced, understand the concepts of what project management is. This is where you get to understand what is your area of influence, what is out of your area of influence. So first week, expect you to get to know what to manage. How, we'll talk about it in later stages, but this is where you understand about what is your syllabus, get your concepts clarified, which starts from understanding what PMP is all about. I mean, it's going to start from the very, very basics, where we will not assume that you have already understood the importance of PMP, but we'll start with what is PMP? What are the different certifications otherwise offered? What is the edge this certification has got? What syllabus it covers? Does it leave anything which you need to learn from some other bodies to be able to increases the chance of success? How does it enable you to be a better project manager? This is what you can expect in week 1. Let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So day 8 to 14, I think, is going to be more about in the content. We are going to speak about, when we're covering the content, we're going to speak about processes, process groups, knowledge areas. What we have written over here in the week 2 is the focus is on knowledge areas. So we're still focusing on talking about in the second week, gaining the understanding. Till now, at the moment, what we are saying is in 2 weeks, you're still going through the material. You're still going through understanding, getting the clarity. Now, what is knowledge area? In project management, one of the questions which came out was, should you be a good project manager? Or should you be a good people manager to be a project manager? Something like that, right? Are we going to be successful? So my counter question to that is, are we going to be successful and ensure project is success if you're a great people manager? Yeah, but that's not the only area, right? You need to be great in not just managing your people. How about managing your client? How about managing your managers? How about managing your manager's colleague who might want to negatively influence just because of political jealousy your projects? You would have seen those negative influences. You need to be great in stakeholder management. That means you need to be able to understand those influences. How about risk management? I'm sure you would have heard about it, right? So managing people is one aspect, but unless you know what can go wrong or what can go right, what are the different elements which I need to understand to increase the likelihood of success of my project? How about risk management? If you're building a house and if you don't know, why do you need to go to an architect to get the plans? You might not go. The value that you get from an architect about the better plans is, I'm sure you would have heard about it, right? If you have, if you go for, the architect, they say this building is going to withstand up to 6 Richter scale of the earthquakes. So it's built into the plans, which means you are great in understanding building the plans. That's also important. Project management plan has to build. You need to be great in terms of communications, in terms of risk management. What if the earthquake comes? I don't want my building to fall down, so how can I mitigate that risk? Risk management. How about people management? Unless you hire the right set of people. So it's not just one area, right? I'm just giving you a few examples. Likewise, time, cost, scope, what has to build. You cannot keep building and deliver all the expectations within the given constraint of time and budget, what can be delivered, having clear-cut expectations about it. So it's not one area which you handle. As a project manager, the biggest challenge is you need to handle multiple areas. How many areas you need to handle? And are you handling all those which you're supposed to handle? Is referred as knowledge areas. So this gives you 2 things. In week 2, we talk about what is the maximum area of influence for you. You don't want to be in a situation where you are practicality. You don't want to be a situation where you are contacted by your managers and they say that, you know what, you have not handled this area, why you have not handled? Oh, was I supposed to even handle that? So knowledge about what to handle, first of all, is part of knowledge areas. It tells you about the syllabus. It tells you about what all things you need to manage to effectively increase the likelihood and get the confidence. And then how you handle that. If I talk about scope, how to build a scope. If I talk about time, how to understand how much time I'm going to take for the project. Is it based on history? Is it based on my team members' information? What should I do? So that is week 2, deep dive into knowledge areas, which means areas in which you need to have knowledge in to be able to successfully manage projects, which includes all the areas that you need to either manage, either you are accountable for it or responsible for it or both. Let's talk about week 3. This is where we continue. We expect, right? We expect that we're going to spend, you will have time with your family as well. You will be, you will not probably have that much of time to be able to spend on knowledge areas, and you might have to go through a lot of reading, maybe go back to your trainer to understand few certain terms, certain situations, what to do, when to raise an exception, when not to raise an exception, and so on. So you continue with the knowledge areas. The training itself is going to get over in 4 days, right? But here we are talking about third week, where we are continuing with the knowledge areas. This is the crux. So this is where you get to understand about the different knowledge areas. You will go through the video series that we have on the project management. The links will be shared with you. Those the information will be given out. Apart from this, how do you know that, okay, you understand the knowledge area, you understand what to do, how to do it, but it's so logical. Have I understood the application? Have I understood what is expected out of me when I'm answering the questions? Or is it just hypothetical? That can only happen when you try these sample questions. And for that sample questions, this is where we start giving you the sample questions. We start giving you the information about validating your knowledge and understanding in each knowledge area, where do you stand, so that you can move ahead with confidence. Week 4. Week 4 is now you have gained the complete understanding. This is the time when your content is completed. From KnowledgeHut, whatever content is given out, you have gone through it. You have gone through the videos as well to revise the content. Your understanding is built up. You have spoken to the trainer about your doubts. All of that is clarified, which means your relationship with the trainer will continue even after the training. Now, your preparation, how do you know? Are you prepared or not? Are you ready to go for the examination? Are you on track or not? As we said, sample questions. As we said, mock exams. 2 challenges with the mock exam. Not just the understanding of, if you can go through those examinations, if you get the right answers. That's one. But when was the last time you took the 4 hours exam? It's a test of your patience as well. You need to get used to it. So this is where you will start giving the mock exams. And this is where you will start to understand in which area you are excelling, in which area you're still lacking. And that's why 1 more week is what is prescribed to be able to get prepared. You will take the full-length examinations. You will face a situation where initially in the beginning, you might be rushing through the questions because you're just tired. You will understand when do you, how do you manage yourself? How do you manage your time? How do you get the patience of sitting for 4 hours? Now, when you take up the examination, it's 180 questions that comes in the examination. You're lucky. When I took the examination, it was 200. So 180 is lesser in comparison to what I took. The hours was same. Today also you get 4 hours. I got 4 hours. So 20 less questions. Lucky you guys are. For that, I took a break in that 4 hours window to strategize my time. After 2 hours, I took a break when I gave the examination, voluntary, because after 2 hours you get tired and you don't want to rush. You don't want to take the decisions. You don't want to go ahead and take the incorrect choices, choose the incorrect choices because you're just tired. So for that, I took the break. Here, that was not scheduled. You can take a break, but right now, if you take up the examination, you have 2 choices. You can go for the examination center or take it from home. If you take from home, there is a 10-minute scheduled break given out in between for you to be able to relax and ensure that you are, you are fresh to take up your examination. 4 hours otherwise sitting is too difficult. You might just need a bio break. So it's scheduled in between 180 questions, 230 minutes, 10 minutes break, which makes it 4 hours examination. And this can only be fruitful and you get the confidence once you understand what's your scores in the mock exam to get the confidence. And second, once you get the discipline of sitting for 4 hours. So that is what you will do in the 4th week. The focus will shift from learning the content to checking your knowledge and understanding your pain points so that you have a targeted approach to go to the trainer, ask the questions, who will share relevant videos with you to clarify your concepts if need be, clarify your doubts on the call if need be, and ensure that you're prepared. So that's what is the plan for 4th week. 5th week, this is where you should be prepared. You should go, by now you should have gone through so many questions. Do you need to remember all the formulas? In the beginning, you will get overwhelmed with the formulas. Concepts, simple. Understanding how to make the right choices, not too difficult. When you should not make the exceptions, which is pretty much in all the situations, that will be understood. The main challenge in the beginning will be too many formulas to remember, will be too overwhelming. And for that, once you go through a lot of questions, remember when you were in college, school, you got the confidence that you remember the formulas. You never had to mug it up if you've practiced too much. Because you have practiced those many mock questions, by now you would remember all the formulas. You would not miss out on those formulas. So again, do you need to mug the formulas? Not really. It will happen automatically by practice. And this is 5th week. This is where you're finally completing your journey, remembering the formulas, the cheat sheets, not the cheat sheet, but the snapshot in terms of the most important formulas and the tips and tricks will be shared by your trainer. I do it specifically and ensure that those small material just before your examination, what you should go through is brushed through. So all that material can be shared with you. Go through it. Remember to look at your mock scores. If you start scoring, from my personal experience, I can say this. If you start scoring above, Smriti, let me know if you want to change that. This is what I've been telling it to my participants, and this is what I've seen working. 85% in the mock exams, if you score above that, I've never seen a participant failing if they score above 85% in the mock exams. Does that mean 85% is the pass percentage? It's a grading system. There's no pass percentage, but that's a safe percentage to aim and have an objective approach in the first attempt of my mock exam. In last 2-3 mock exams, if I've been getting 85% plus, I can assure you will clear your examination because you've built sufficient leverage, you have built sufficient bandwidth to be nervous in the examination, which you will be. 85% is a safe percentage. Look for that. If you are achieving that, go for your examination. And that's the easier target, which I was talking about, the easier way of gauging if you're prepared or not. Look for your scores in the mock exam. 85% is the benchmark in the first attempt. 5 mock exams, 5 simulations. What if you run out of it? Ask your trainer. He will give you more mock exams. There are other links as well, which you could share. I would give you more mock exams if I'm there. And don't just keep a simple guideline that as soon as I start scoring above it, I'll speak to my trainer, get the approval. You would know, you can have confidence that you are safely investing your money. You are prepared. I've never seen in my 10 years, 11 years of experience, anybody failing the examination above that percentage. So that's what I can recommend. And this is where your journey of preparation ends. This is where you know you're prepared to clear your examination. I think that probably sums up the overall step-by-step study plan in a snapshot.
We have 2 questions that you can take. I already attended PMP 35 hours training from KnowledgeHut. Now I need to take only mock test. Will it be fine?
Yes, Manjunath. If you've already taken it, you already have the PDU certificate. Now, answer to this question is yes and no both. Yes, if you have the confidence, if you understand, if you remember the concepts, go ahead with that. And just take the mock exams. I think just need to get in touch with your sales consultant. There is certain guideline. I think up to a particular time period, only they keep the mock exams open. So I'm not sure when you took the training, depending upon your, the KnowledgeHut guidelines and the time when you took the training, they would give you the access. Speak to your sales consultant or your trainer from whom you have taken the training, and they will help you out with this. But if you do not remember the concepts, typically what I've seen is after a period of time, which is typically around 45 days after the training is completed, we start forgetting the concepts and we don't even know what to study. You have only 2 choices: go through the videos if you have it of your training, which is not going to be that easy because you have to have the discipline, or go for a refresher. I think you can speak to your sales consultant if there is a refresher. From cost perspective, I don't want to speak about it, but yeah, I'm sure that would be considerate. So it's your decision. Do you remember the concepts? If yes, go for your mock exams. If you don't, if you've taken the training, 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I would suggest go for refresher. Better.
Great, thank you. With 20 years of experience in IT and working as a project manager, do you recommend PMP certification or PGMP certification for career progression?
PMP, if you want to stick to project management. PGMP is a different ballgame altogether. Program management is you are rolling up multiple projects into a program, and how do you manage that? That's a different ballgame altogether. I'm a trainer for PGMP as well. So if you want to focus on, now I do the project management consulting and program management consulting. These two are two different topics. What do you want to focus on? If you want to focus on project management, whether you're 20 years experienced, whether you're 30 years experienced, I have a past trainee who's retired today and is into consulting. So more than, I think, 65 years age, and is well-accomplished consultant as a, that person has only focused on PMP. So as a project manager, if you want to focus on projects alone, PMP. If you want to move ahead and want to move into program management, which is combining and managing multiple projects together to get some strategic benefit for the organization, that is program management, then you should go for PGMP. I will not compare these two. I cannot answer this question. I can only say that it depends upon your focus and what you want to, what do you want to accomplish.
End-to-end project management experience is needed, or just part of it?
End-to-end project management experience is absolutely desired. Now, in that, if in between, let's say you do not have your testing is done by a test manager. A portion of it is done by a separate manager, but you're developing the plans. Only the test plans was built by some other manager. That's okay. That's a little bit of help is fine. But yeah, end-to-end project management experience is needed. Portion of it, you could have got the help, but that doesn't mean that you have not done it. You were just not responsible for it. Accountability eventually was with you. You might be having help, but you were just having a hand helping you out. Overall accountability was still yours. So yes, you might be having help, but overall as a project manager, end-to-end project management experience is needed. Caveat to that, or small pointer which I'd like to add, there might be a situation in that 4 years experience that we spoke about. There might be a situation that for 2 years, 2 years end-to-end project management, which the project which you started and ended also, there's another project which you took over and that you handled for 2 years. And that project was already on, underway. That's okay. That's fine. So in that 4 years experience, you might have one project, which was a big project, which you handled end-to-end, one project which you took over, or you did not complete it, handed over because you moved out of the organization. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bhupinder, for taking all those questions proactively. We would really appreciate, this is to the audience, we would really appreciate your valuable feedback on how the session met your expectations. If you found this session informative and engaging, please show your appreciation by raising your hand. We do have quite a bit left as well in the masterclass, and also would like to let you know that if you stay till the end of this class, we actually have some free goodies to give away. You will get a PMP toolkit. We'll give you one free simulation exam that you can attempt, and also a 30-minute one-on-one with our program trainers. So stay till the end. We have a little more information. We're going to be going through some mock tests as well to show you how our learning platform works. So don't leave the session as yet. We do have quite a few things in store for you. I have another question. A person from 15 years of sales background, is he or she eligible for PMP?
Sales background, again, if you're into sales, that's not typically a project. Sales is more of operations work. Project is, okay, to give you an understanding of who can do project management, PMP certification. Project, let me define that first. Project is a temporary endeavor, which means it starts one day, it has to end one day. A lot of times we are confused about what is the end date. I might have got a contract from an organization, and that contract is handling, let's say, customer care function. I started that function for, let's say my organization is Microsoft, and I get a contract for HP. So Microsoft is handling HP's account for customer care, but that's not a project. It would start one day. When the contract goes away, it ends that day, but there is no end date defined. In a project, when I say it is a temporary endeavor which has a definite start date and the end date, we have the predefined targeted end date. In account, we don't want it to end, we want it to continue. It ends because we lost a contract. That's not a project. So project is building a new house, building a new complex, building a new airport, setting up a new business, setting up a new restaurant. It will start one day, it will end one day. If your work is related to coming up with a new product, service, or an outcome, and this you're doing it with a definite start date and the end date, that's a project. If you're handling that, that is when PMP makes sense. If you're handling operations, which means day in, day out, the work is same, like sales, like handling customer care operations, technical support, ticketing, any of that, cleaning the building. After the house is built, you have to clean the building every day. Day to day, the work might differ a little bit, but if it's pretty much similar and there's no end date, that's not a project. And that time, we will not be having any benefits of doing project management professional because it's not related to the work that you will be handling. So first be clear about what you're handling. And do you want to be in that same domain, which is project? If yes, then please do PMP.
Thank you, Bhupinder. Let's move on to the next slide.
All right, so I think I'll go through these slides pretty quickly in interest of time now, and hand it over back to Smriti, because I think I have to eat up a lot of time right now. Tips and strategies, I think I'll just go through it pretty quickly instead of going through slides and hand over back. The first tip is something which is very close to my heart. I am not the one who believe in saying that just to clear the examination, you remember this, otherwise in practicality, you might be doing it. There's nothing in PMP which any of the trainer would teach you. And if somebody teaches, come back to me. I need to probably have a discussion with him or her. There's nothing in PMP which you will learn which is theoretical. Everything is practical. Focus on that. When you try to understand what does PMI say and this situation from PMI perspective, what should I do? When you do that, you won't be successful in clearing the examination. When you try to understand whatever they are saying, will I do it? Is it the best thing to do? That means now you're aware of in project, what is the right decisions to take. So focus on taking the right decisions in the project and use PMP as a method of becoming a better project manager. If your focus is on that, you will definitely clear the examination. So that's the first step, which is understand everything practically. Unless that happens, don't let your trainer move ahead, whatever topic it is. Crux of PMP is TCS, time, cost, and scope. This is where majority of your time will go off also. Okay, learning practically is important. But then we know that in some situations, we have been making those decisions, unethical probably decisions. For example, how many of you have actually been told, guys, this is going to be a working weekend. We have error, it's our fault. We are going to be spending time in office because we have a client review on Monday. And there's no overtime which is paid. There is nothing which is no comp off which is given out. You know what? This is unethical. Not supposed to happen. We are so used to it that in the actual examination, when they ask about it, you might say, oh, it's a situation. I got to support. So when not to raise an exception, how to get rid of all those bad habits which we have learned, it's going to take the practice. So practice a lot of questions. That will help you understand no exceptions. How do you stick to the basics? When we stick to basics, we at times, what I see is we feel that we might be insulting the client by not honoring what they're requesting. We might be pushing. We might not be generating the business for the organization. All of that is myths. Remember, there is a way of approaching the client. We never said be insulting to the client. Sticking to the basics is different than being insulting. You can always be diplomatic and stick to rules and ensure that's your main role, communication, 90%. How do you ensure everything is moving on track and you don't get influenced? Rather, you are the one who's influencing. So second, you can only do that and clear the examination when you get rid of bad habits. And that can only happen through practicing lots of questions. Why the answer which you got as wrong answer? What was the reason? That will help you out, understand wherever you're confused. There's a best strategy of reaching the right answer. Wherever you're confused, eliminate the wrong options. So focus on understanding why the incorrect option was a wrong option so that in the actual examination, whenever you get confused, you can easily eliminate the wrong options. Out of 4, if you have to take a guess, the chance of success is 25%. If you're able to eliminate 2 options, now you have to take a guess, the chance of success is 50%. Focus on that. Manage your time. ensure that take a lot of mock questions because initially you will struggle remembering the formulas. Initially, you will struggle with managing the question. There will be a lot of questions that will be meant to waste your time with big text. How do you reach the crux of the question? How do you manage your time will only happen when you take lots and lots of mock exam. You have sufficient 5 mock exam, 5 simulations. You have sufficient. By the end of it, I'll be surprised if you're not ready and if you need more mock exams. But if you need, we are there, right? So these are certain basic tips and strategies that we have. Focus on key areas which your project, which your trainer would tell. And this key areas will be one, generic, and secondly, dependent upon your individualistic need as well. So once the training is going on, don't feel that your training is over, so you should not get in touch with your trainer. Ensure that you stay in touch, ensure that you make use of your trainer to clarify your doubts, and he would be the best person to help you understand what are the key areas that you need to focus on. ITTOs, let's go to the next slide. ITTOs is input tools, techniques, and outputs. This we used to ask participants to focus on it. No more needed. No questions come from this one. It was the old topic mainly, but why do you need to still focus on this is mainly to be able to understand practically how every task which you perform has logical inputs, understand practically rather. So ITTOs, you don't need to remember, no need to mug. This I spoke about from the perspective that you might hear from the market. You might hear from a lot of trainers that ITTOs you have to mug, you have to cram. No, not needed. ITTOs, what we're recommending over here is understanding. The first keyword, understand, not mug. Gone are those days when actually there was never those days. It was some trainers' mistake who used to make it a big thing. I have never asked my participants to remember the ITTOs. It's all logical. Still, logical understanding is required. No questions at all from ITTOs about for this process, what is the tool technique. So you will hear this, and that's why I was very specific about it. You don't need to mug any ITTOs. There is nothing, once again, ties back to the same thing. There's nothing which is which you would do and which is not practical. It's only theoretical, including ITTOs as well. Mugging will not help. Take care of yourself. Don't feel exhausted. Have a targeted approach. Same time, stay relaxed, stay hydrated. The examination which you take, I think one more thing which I would like to add over here is, since you have the opportunity of blocking the time and you can take up the online examination, the time is not that you will get the examination 9 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning. You can decide the time. It's when you go for blocking your examination, the slots will be available. So if you want to, let's say, take up examination next week, you can expect your desired slot to be available. The more the gap that you give for booking your examination, your desired slots, the possibility of desired slot being available is very high. So give time and book your slot. Can you reschedule your examination? There is a charge depending upon the time when you're rescheduling, not too high, but this is what is needed. Now, when you book your slot, my only recommendation is, since you can take up the examination anytime during the day, even 12 o'clock in the night, 10 o'clock in the night, 10 o'clock in the morning, make sure you take up the examination. The start should be after you're freshened up in the morning, you have taken your breakfast, or when you're not hungry and another 4 hours once you sit, you won't be hungry. So let's say if you start at 10 o'clock in the morning and your examination is going to end at 2 o'clock, you're sure you will rush, even though you will have break, because around 1 o'clock you'll be hungry. So keep that in mind, that your cycle of the food intake, depending upon that. Do not book your examination immediately after lunch. You'll be a little sleepy. Take care of that in consideration. Book your examination accordingly. All right. Avoid any last-minute cramming. Next slide for. Let's go to the next slide.
Just 2 questions before we move to the next slide. How about cost value management formulas? Does this appear in the exam?
All right. So we will teach you, Harsh, all the formulas related to the earned value management, costing, critical path. We will teach you. Earlier, a lot of questions used to come in the examination. Right now, the observation is what I've heard, the feedback which I've got is very less number of questions. Some participants have got just 1 or 2 questions from the formulas. Does that mean, can I recommend you not to remember the formulas? Not really. It's just that right now the pattern is we are seeing less number of questions coming from the formulas perspective, but yes, the formulas would be taught. It's an interest from two perspectives. One, you might get questions. The pattern might not repeat. The pattern right now is more practical questions. Less number of formulas is what have been told, but might not repeat for you. Every examination is different. Second, doesn't matter. Even if you don't get the question, remember, this is what will make you a better project manager. So yes, you need to remember those formulas. It will be taught in an easier way, logical way to help you remember.
There is a quick question about does a person need to pay $555 to retake the PMP examination?
Oh, very good question. The re-examination cost is not that high. So $555 is, if I remember it right, and that's not considering any discounts which you might get sometimes you might get some seasonal discounts in terms of, some promotion offers. So you might get some coupons from PMI, but normal costing is $555 if you are not a member. There are two ways to write the examination. You can become a PMI member and write the examination, or you can write the examination without being the member. What is my recommendation? Become a member and write the examination. What's the benefits? If you write the examination without being a member, the cost is $555. If you become a member and write the examination, the cost of membership is $129, and including the examination fees, the membership plus examination fees, it comes as around $544 without the local chapter addition. So that means you save around $11 if you become a member. So is that why I'm recommending you to become a member? Multiple other benefits. One, you become a member for 1 year. You get access to the PMI's project management library, from which you can refer to books, their webinars, their old research information. All of that PMI information will be open for you. You can go through it. It will be for your consumption. You can download free PMBOK copy also. If you're a PMI member, you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to buy from anywhere. So you'll get that free copy as well. Cost saving plus books is coming up. This is the benefit. And the last benefit is if you have to retake, as I said, let's not even think about it, 99% pass percentage. And I'm giving you the clear-cut guideline of how do you clear the examination. Even after that, I don't see a reason why you would need to, but if you need to, you don't have to pay the full examination fees. I think it's $200 some. I don't remember exactly, but it's much lesser if you are a member. The fees that you pay is much lesser. Even if you're not a member, you don't pay $555. It's much lesser, but there is a considerable difference in that as well. The benefit is extended over there as well if you're a member. So when you take every examination, simple answer, you don't have to pay $555 if you have to take a re-examination. And second, the approach should be become a member and write the examination.
Last question. Does one question have multiple answers?
You might have that situation, but it will be given out in the question that choose all the relevant options. Otherwise, it's a multiple choice exam where you have just one question, one answer right.
Great. Should I renew the certificate before the expiry of 3 years along with 60 PDUs? How can I get the 60 PDUs?
Very good question, Harsh. I almost forgot about it. I was making notes when Smriti was talking about it, that around 65% participants only renew their certification. It's a shame, actually. Such a difficult certification to get. And if you don't renew it, it's surprising, actually. I wasn't aware of it, that 35% of the participants don't even renew it. So it's a surprise to me. But 35% of the participants, why do not renew? I think the only reason is they forget. And after 3 years, they don't know how to get the 60 PDUs. So what is a PDU? Smriti spoke about it earlier. We also spoke about the 35 PDUs you will get from this training. 1 hour of training is equal to 1 PDU certificate that you get. That's the easiest way. So 60 hours of training, basically, in 3 years. Doesn't sound that difficult. Every year, 20 hours of training to get the PDU certificate of 60, but we would not have made it a priority. And by the end of it, we don't have the certificate, don't know what to do. We don't know how do we actually submit the 60 PDUs. Why PMI needs 60 PDUs? PMI just says that you cannot. Now, PMBOK has gone through revisions. PMBOK 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So it has gone through revisions for what? Is just the revisions, or there are some additions? Best practices keeps on getting added. When there is something which is working today, and there's something new which comes up in the market, which delivers better result, shouldn't in project management, shouldn't PMI update themselves? Absolutely. They updated themselves with agile knowledge, lean knowledge, and so on, right? So whenever something became best practice, it has to be updated. Which means if you have done the PMP certification 20 years ago, today, probably you would not have the information about what works today, right? And that's why PMI says every 3 years, you might have achieved PMP, but can you please go ahead and focus on your development? Focus on your development every year, 20 hours of learning if you do it, 60 hours overall in 3 years if you do it. Pay a small fees and we'll renew the certification for 3 years. All that we want is focus on your self-development and stay relevant in project management. What kind of trainings you should be doing? There is a criteria for it, but that's a simple explanation of what is 60 PDUs. How can you get those 60 PDUs? Focus on getting your certification. That's your first job. Have the details with you of your trainers. Before, just stay in touch. It's their job. They will help you out, understand what course to do, what you should do, guide you about what you should be doing, which is aligned to your development, and will help you achieve the target of 60 PDUs. They'll make it very, very simple for you. So at the moment, I think it is because it's individualistic, depending upon your goal. I would not speak about what courses to do. I just spoken about 60 hours of learning is required. And for that, take help of your trainer. He or she is the best person. Focus right now on achieving certification and then just stay in touch. Trainers will help you out and make it very, very simple for you.
Great. Okay, we'll have to double up on all these slides. So what are the mistakes that they should avoid?
I think I'll just go through these slides very, very quickly now. So towards the end, when you are actually going for examination, just before the examination, earlier, what used to happen when I gave the examination, at that point of time, we were given a blank paper 15 minutes before the examination. We can do brain dump. You can put all the formulas. Today, it's not allowed. And I think it's not allowed from two perspectives now. So it's not just that you should do brain dump and remember the formulas for clearing the examination. PMP should make you a better project manager, and that's what PMI has moved towards. And that's why we said less number of questions are coming for your formulas, and more of practical questions, situational questions are coming. So PMI's focus has moved towards that side, making a better project manager. That's where practicality is important. That's why don't focus on last minute cramming, revision of formulas, revision of important concepts. Yes, you will be given certain important terminologies to remember, but towards the end of the, just before your examination, make sure you're relaxed. Don't stress out. Make sure you have adequate sleep, adequate food. Understand that you are well prepared and you have got the approvals from your trainer to take up the examination. Trust the process. Stay relaxed. Ensure that you focus on that 85% plus on the mock exams. Without that, don't go for examination. Focusing on your strength is important, but at the same time, ask your trainers to help you out, overcome your weaker areas as well. Ensure that whenever you're tired, take a short break, manage your time well, don't rush. You will be made to rush. One of the observations which I personally have is the questions will have certain pattern. Some questions you'll be able to answer very, very quickly. And in between, you will see some questions coming up, which is big questions, which is meant to waste your time. And then it will go on till a time period where you're psychologically driven towards rushing through the questions. Remember, there's a pattern. It's okay. In between, you will get some questions, which is going to take your time, but you will also get the time. You have sufficient time to complete your 180 questions. Don't rush, stay relaxed. Towards the end, when you complete your exam, you will be asked, or you will be given an opportunity to review your answers. Make sure every question has an answer selected. There is no question which does not have an answer selected because there's no negative marking. And then go and submit your exam. You can mark your questions for review if you are confused to review later on. You will have sufficient time, so no rushing through. Typical week of 5-week plan. I think overall, if you see this slide, the maximum time which is allocated over here, 2.5 hours per day, 3 hours per week. You see over here, the entire journey which is mentioned is to give you confidence, saying that you don't need to, go out of your job and focus only on this. It's prepared in such a way that we understand, we are also professionals, we understand, we have gone through same journey, where you do not need to, you do not need to go ahead and move out of your family or move out of your job. You have all those responsibilities, just spend this much time period, sufficient, and you will be prepared in 5 weeks, right? Very less number of time which is needed. Majority of time which will go off is in the mock exams, 4 hours dedicated that time. Apart from that, you have flexibility. Well, I think this typical week, which is mentioned over here, is to give you confidence. I think
a big advantage of doing this 5-week plan with KnowledgeHut is on the 5th week, like we already said, the trainer will actually give you a go or no go to let you know what, we think you are ready to take the examination, and that is a very important step. So the 5-week plan also is very, very important. Why is the 5th week important? I just gave you that answer, right? Now, Bhupinder, the kind of mock exams they will get, type of questions?
I think now I was just going through the different slides, which we have over here. Mm-hmm. Pretty much all of this is going to speak about some mock questions are given out, but what kind of questions? This is something which we have spoken in the past. What kind of questions? Let me keep it simple over here. The mock questions is designed by, is it the similar question which you'll get in the examination, word by word? Don't expect that. Not even a single question which will match exactly. If you're given CCNA exam or other professional examinations, MCP examinations, CCNA examinations, the brain dumps is sufficient for you to clear the examination. Don't expect that at all. Not even a single question, I can guarantee. Very, very less. I mean, yeah, you might get a question saying that how much percentage of time project managers spend on communication. I can't change too much words for that. For that, the answer has to be 90%. So very less number of questions like that. But apart from that, all the situational questions have been designed depending upon our experience by us, related to what you can expect in the examination. This is where do not try to mug, but the questions are meant to make you clear about your logics. And if you score over here, similar pattern, similar complexity, and you'll clear your actual examination as well. Don't expect the actual examination to be more complex, similar pattern.
Actually, in the recent past, we've added something to our pro plan for PMP. So if you guys take the pro plan with us, you will get something known as the golden ticket, which is 180 plus questions. So the most recently asked questions from PMI as well. So take advantage of that while you decide on which plan to do. It would be the pro plan or the basic plan. All right. These are our test themes. Project manager should always evaluate before he or she first actions, solve problems now, don't wait, maintain a servant leader attitude with the principles. Is the question agile, traditional, or hybrid? Make that decision as you read the questions. The project manager should always put the interest of the project against his or her own self-interest. The project manager protects the project from unnecessary changes and choose the best answer that matches the PMIism. That's a word that you guys will hear a lot, right? So we have about 4 mock tests that we'd like to take you through, and we're going to do it in polls so you get a chance to answer these questions. The first question is, a subcontractor informs the project manager that they are unable to supply a key component to the project. What should the project manager do? The slide says AAAA, but it's A, B, C, D. Raise a risk. You can read the options and answer the question. I'm going to quickly launch that poll for you. There you go. Let's see what your answers are. You have 30 seconds to do this. think a lot of people are leaning towards option 1. And because I said that, people are moving from different options to option 1 as well. Okay, let's see what the answer is. This is what you answered, right? But the answer was B. And then if you go through our Prism, which is our learning portal, once you answer the question, we'll also give you a justification as to why your answer was right or wrong. Bhupinder, you want to add something here?
Not really, nothing from my side.
Okay, great. So let's go to the next question then. The next question is, after a project team has been working on a project for several months, the project is cancelled. The project sponsor is putting pressure on the project manager to perform closeout duties as fast as possible so that the project team can move on to other work. The project sponsor has instructed the team not to waste time archiving the project artifacts for the cancelled project. How should the project manager handle this situation? You have 4 options. Let's see what your answers are. Okay, a couple of more seconds. Most people leaning to option 4. Okay, let's see what the answer is. The answer is option 4, and most of you have got that right. So I guess you guys are already on your way to giving that PMP examination. Good job. And there is a justification as to why, the answer is consult with the project management office, sorry. Right, next question. A new project manager has been assigned to an environmental project. After reviewing the project plan, the project manager notices that health and safety requirements have not been properly addressed. This is a serious concern, and the project manager wants to fix this issue immediately. Why is this situation problematic? Again, you have 4 options if you can quickly fill out the answer. All right. A lot of people moving to option number 3. Okay. So the answer that y'all said, or majority of y'all said, is option number 3. Let's see what the slide has to say. Oh, the slide says option 4, which is D, and there is a reasoning if you want to quickly read the slide. The project manager is obligated to comply with the project location's regularity. Right? And then what we'll also give you is, we'll give you why A, B, and C was not the right answers. Right? This is an option that KnowledgeHut only gives you. When you attempt the mock test, we'll tell you why your answer was right or why it was wrong. Okay, there is a justification on every question. Okay, quickly then, the last question that we have is why or why not. A hybrid project is used to transit from a current system to a new and enhanced system. The plan is to transit the system in stages. However, the operations team is complaining that they are not ready to start supporting the new system. How should the project manager effectively approach this situation? The answers, options are on your screen. Let's see what you have in store for yourselves. 30 seconds to go. A lot of our learners are leaning towards option B. Let's see if that answer is correct in the next couple of seconds. All right, let's see what the answer is. The answer is option B, and most of you answered option B as well. So I think you're already ready to take up the main PMP examination. Good job, everybody. Um, so we gave you a justification as to why. The answer was B. The key word is the plan is to transit the system in stages. So that was important, and then we're justifying why the answer was B, and then why not A, C, and D. But anyway, if you enroll with KnowledgeHut, ladies and gentlemen, you will definitely get these mock tests, 5 mock tests that you can attempt multiple times with justifications, 5 simulation exams, and like Bhupinder said, if you need to practice with more exams, mock tests, the trainers will be happy to give you that. So let's quickly recap of the easy step-by-step PMP certification journey. Get the 35 PDUs and get the concepts cleared with our live virtual class. Follow the directions given in the 5-week exam guaranteed study plan. Complete 2 to 3 mock exams and simulation exams. Well, Bhupinder suggested 85%, so you want to take that into consideration. And finally, get a sign off from our in-house mentor and only then attend the examination. All right. What we'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that there are a lot of companies in the world that probably promise you the moon and maybe not even reach you to the stars. But KnowledgeHut is not like that. We work with outcome-based programs, right? We focus on these outcomes, and I'm going to give you a few examples as to what these outcomes are. If you look at our certified Scrum Master training, highlighted there in red, it says, ace your CSM examination in the first go. And believe me, it's like 100% pass every time you do a certified Scrum Master training with KnowledgeHut. For PMP, we're saying that you will get a guaranteed exam success and you get to ace your examination in the very first go. We also said that if you don't clear your examination in the first go, we will give you your money back, right? That's how confident we are about our training. And then for those courses that are more like tech, like our full stack development boot camps and other boot camps, we do offer job support. And then there are average salaries of more than 80,000 per year that people get. So we just want to reiterate that KnowledgeHut works with outcome-based learning only. Whatever we're promising, we will definitely deliver, right? Um, if you take up the PMP certification training course with us, we give you the guaranteed pass 5-week study plan. We have a 98% success rate when it comes to students giving the examination. And if you don't pass, we will give you your money back. And because you attended today's masterclass, we're also giving you a PMP toolkit, which has case studies and user stories that you can go through. Apart from that, we're giving you one simulation exam, which is very close to the main examination, PMI examination. So if you do that simulation exam well, you are ready to go for the examination. And last but not the least, a 30-minute one-on-one with our trainers, so that they can help and guide you. Here are some facts that you are seeing on my screen and on your screen. We have more than 450,000 alumni who've gone through the PMP program with us. We've tied up with more than 4,500 enterprise partners, and we've reached out to more than 100 countries with these programs. We actually have this as one of our biggest examples because one of our alumni reached the highest pay package of a $500,000 salary package, which is a lot of money. And not, well, everybody someday can get lucky, is what I'd say. But paving your way with certifications in today's world is very important, right? This is very special to us. So KnowledgeHut is one of those edtechs that actually have tied up with the government of Singapore, and we've collaborated to upskill and reskill the Singaporean workforce in emerging technologies. We have the IBF and UTAB subsidies, and then the government also helps its people use their skills future credits to upgrade. These are a few university partners that we've had in the past and are currently working with. You can see that, and we have many more as well that we are tying up with in recent times. These are our enterprise partners, so many of them who have benefited from KnowledgeHut and had their workforce go through us for different trainings, especially for PMP. Prism is a very important factor of KnowledgeHut. It's an AI-based learning system where you get a 360 degree immersive learning experience. So there are cloud labs, there are assessments, there are problem-solving sessions. But for PMP specifically, what you will get is once you register with KnowledgeHut, immediately you get access to Prism, and you get a lifetime access there. You can always go back to your learning material. If you choose to do the pro plan with us for PMP, we will give you, I've already mentioned this, but you'll get some self-paced learning content, 24 hours of self-paced learning content, a recorded session of the class that you're attending, mock test, simulation exams, and then 2,000 plus questions from the question bank of PMI, and a golden ticket to 180 plus questions with the most recently asked questions from PMI. Apart from this, like I said, you can always retake your mock test to practice well before you give the examination. We give you simulation exams. Prism is beautiful, and you just have to register. You don't even have to attend the class. If you pay the money to register at KnowledgeHut, you get access to our learning portal, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we want to tell you again that the PMP examination is not easy, but believe us, it is worth every effort of yours. So if you put in that time and money to study and work hard and be smart, believe me, you will get that certification, and PMP is here to stay. Feedback is very essential for our improvement, and it'll help us make our work better. So I think the feedback forms will be sent to you. It's also on the chat, so you can quickly give us your feedback to make our work better. These are some real outcomes from our learners who have studied under Bhupinder. They said that your students can reach you whenever they want, and you kept your word, which is like he's given out his email ID, phone number for them to reach out to him even after the training, to be vested in this. The class is incredibly comprehensive and really has demystified the PMP certification for most of them. This is a quick comparison chart between us and the other vendors that are available in the market. We've already gone through all of this, yes, but we will give you, our trainers will, take you through a session of exam application. That exam application is very important. How you articulate your exam application is what's going to give you the approval. So there is like a 30-minute session on that as well in our training, right? Just a last chance for Q&A if anybody wants to ask any questions. Bhupinder, any last thoughts for our learners?
I think just towards the end, I would want to say that try to make the 5-week plan very, very simple. Spoke about it in a simple terms. we as consultants, I think I would want to come back to why KnowledgeHut and give my final words over there. Couple of observations. When you were giving out the answers, in the beginning in the mock exam, this is what happens and this is what's going to happen with you. We initially feel the answer cannot be so simple, and that's why we go with the jargons. And that's where we realized, I mean, I could see that OPAs, for example, some of the people chose OPAs as the answer for one of the question, whereas the OPA just means that organizational asset, which is just a template. We tend to go for the jargons because we always believe that the answer cannot be simple. That will happen when you go through a lot of mock exams and understand it is simple answers. Stick with basics. And for that, you need to practice. And this is the job of the trainer. The questions which were designed to give out to you was to ensure that you understand the challenges which you will face and how KnowledgeHut is well equipped to be able to help you overcome those challenges. As a consultant, as a trainer, I can just say one thing over here. I have delivered trainings for many institutions and I love delivering the trainings for KnowledgeHut, not because of the, I'm right now speaking about them. I just want to say that they have very objective and the right approach in terms of helping the participants and not just partnering with them in the journey, but to give them the complete value, which is not just about certification, but to help you become better project managers. This certification is the right one for you. Again, emphasis on that one. Why $500,000 looks a good amount. Look at me. I'm a trainer. I'm a full-time consultant and trainer. I don't do a job anywhere else. I'm only training and doing consulting. And I make much more than, what I was making as a director in HP. And that's a testimony that if you have the knowledge, you should focus on knowledge, which you will definitely get over here because of the tools which I've seen and the liberty which I also get. And that's why I love delivering trainings over here, because I get the liberty of focusing on making it practical, right? This is, once you understand the application, the jobs, getting jobs will not be constrained. It will be easy. And the approach, I think, is the best one. You need to focus on more of not just getting the certification. It should be a byproduct. You should focus on getting the clarity. And that is one takeaway which I want you to take. As a PMP certified professional, you will get the value in the market. And the biggest testimony of that one is me, right? I'm not doing job. I'm right now capitalizing on these trainings and, moving ahead in my career, getting the value. So this is pretty much in demand. You just need to focus on the right thing, which is not getting the certification alone, but getting the practical understanding. All the best from my side. That's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Bhupinder. I don't see many questions coming up. We took quite a few questions through this session as well. Okay, here's the exciting part. Because you attended this masterclass with us today, we're giving you a free PMP toolkit with case studies, free videos, practice tests, a collection of the most asked interview questions, one free simulation exam so that you can gauge to see whether you're ready to do the PMP exam. And a very important giveaway is a 30-minute one-on-one with our PMP expert. So, we will send you an email after this session with all of these goodies. And if you'd like to book the session, please let us know. And if you enroll now, here's today's special offer. You can use this Master Safe coupon code to get a discount on both either our Pro plan or our basic plan. We encourage you to go with the Pro plan because there are so many benefits that you can get from that. But if you think you're kind of ready and the basic plan is enough for you, then make use of that. Get a 54% off, use the coupon code, get more, and enroll today. You guys are really lucky that you're getting this kind of discount on your training. So enroll. All right. And you can reach out to us at knowledgehut.com if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your time this morning. It was a wonderful session. Thank you, KnowledgeHut. Thank you, Bhupinder. Thank you, coordinators, and thank you, participants, for being here today.
Thank you, everyone, from my side as well. Hope to see you soon in one of my next sessions. Thank you.
Absolutely. Enroll. Go ahead, get that voucher and do really well. All the best, everybody. Have a wonderful day ahead. Cheers.